I played 100 days of Stardew... Wait, does that say Pam Valley? What's happening? Yeah, this year-long video is gonna be quite cursed. Literally. Usually, I let you all in on the backstory starting before we arrive in Pelican Town, but this time, things don't go awry until a few days into our new life. No spoilers right now, get ready for this Pam-themed fever dream. All the mods I use will be linked in the description, and if you're enjoying the video at any point during this playthrough, don't forget to let me know by hitting the like button. Anyway, let's get into it. The farmer isn't gonna know what's hit her. Waking up for our first full day in the valley, I admired the pretty house interior and collected my parsnip seeds. I rearranged the furniture to have the bed next to the door just the way I like it, and stepped out onto the farm to get some space cleared. I've chosen the sunflower farm map linked in the description, and for the farm name, I went with Helianthus Farm, the scientific name for sunflowers. There wasn't a reason for this type of theme, I just thought we needed something cute to offset what's to come. After planting my parsnips, I headed into town to introduce myself and bought a handful of seeds from Pierre. I tried getting some of most things here, but I overestimated what I could afford, so I had to sell back one of my seeds to get what I needed. Clearly, off to a great start. I didn't go home without getting some more first-time greetings in, at which point I was ready to get my additional seeds in the ground. I wandered back out for the evening for a bit of foraging and found more villagers still out and about to say hi to, and I even hit level 1 foraging today too. I'll definitely be making use of some field snacks. I also like using spring onions for energy in the early days, so I headed to Cindersap Forest for a few on day 2 as part of a general foraging walk. Willie returned to his home on the beach today, ready to give me my very first fishing pole, which I did not put to use just yet. With just a few villagers left to meet, I raced around town trying to find them all with the help of Look Up Anything, because people like Elliot and Leah I can't always remember the schedules of. That meant I completed my introductions by the evening, at which point I handed Elliot some algae for some quick additional gold. We'll fix his friendship in the future anyways. My socializing was done for the day, so I fished the evening away on the farm until I hit level 1 that night. Then, on day 3, I was thrilled to save some energy on the daily crop watering with the guaranteed rain rolling in. The perfect time to get a bit more farm clearing done, but then I realized I'd not checked out the cave next to the farmhouse. There are a couple of places I'll need upgraded tools to access, but it was nice to see the minecarts in better shape than the rest of the farm. It's no surprise that I was immediately drawn to the quarry, delighted to find a whole bunch of iron still days away from the mines opening up, and there were enough rocks here to help me level up my mining skill. I didn't spend much time looking at the other minecart locations, they're just other areas of the farm, and I didn't want to overwhelm my already limited memory. I was hoping to find some more spring onions today, but I guess they were sheltering from the weather. There were however some daffodils around town to cheer me up. I then thought I'd better get back to some farm clearance and chopped enough trees to reach level 2 foraging. Clint appeared on the farm on day 4, having somehow heard I'd been finding some ores. He must have been using my quarry before I took the farm over, and probably tried to steal more ores before I woke up and then found it empty. Anyway, I kicked the trespasser off the farm. I can figure out how to make a furnace all by myself. For today's spring onions, I could count the pickings on one hand. Then, on my way through town, I found that Clint had to outsource his copper ore for inspections now that he couldn't use my quarry, and I made sure to get any friendship points I could as I passed through the area. I planned to fish for more money today, but it wasn't long before my backpack got full, so I moved over to the waters on the farm, which also offers the same fish as the mountain lake. Much easier just being able to dump everything in the shipping bin next to me when I get full again. I did keep some of my fish though, in case I get requests for them in the future, so on this night, I only managed a few hundred gold. Marnie showed up with the stray dog on day 5, and having a farm pet might be nice, so I decided to adopt them. For some reason, I don't know why, the name Hops was speaking to me. The goodest pooch of them all. This was a big day. New pet, our first parsnips, first farming level, and when I headed off to town for a top-off of seeds, I found Lewis outside the previously locked community centre. He showed me around inside the crumbling building where I got jump scared by a little apple-looking thing. Lewis can't see them, but his response shocked me even more because it's been a while since I've actually watched this full cutscene.
What's the matter? Are you ill?
I may not be ill here, but I'm certainly now already sick of Lewis. He thankfully left me to check out the building by myself, and I found this weird plaque much shinier than the rest of the building, in a language I couldn't decipher. Nothing here for me, I guess, so it's back on with my previous plans. First, that meant saying hi to our townie friends. Pam might have thought that every day is just the same as the last, but this one's different. Today, Pam gets a farm fresh parsnip. I sold some of this morning's harvest so I could afford more seeds, except I ended up holding back on my purchase, eyeing up a backpack upgrade hopefully in the near future. Especially with this being my first day in the mines too. Like I said, big day. I always forget how rough the rusty sword is whenever I start a new farm, but not only did I gather enough copper ore for Clint's inspection, I also got a dwarf scroll from a slime, and by floor 5, my weapon woes were over with a wooden club in a crate. I left a bit too late to get into Clint's for the ore inspection, but I could get the dwarf scroll donated for another 250 gold. I was to visit Clint at the saloon for the quest hand-in later, but me being me, I got distracted setting up more storage for my growing collection of belongings, and just went to bed after that. But hey, at least I can make scarecrows now. You'd have thought making one of those would be my first task for day 6, but I got distracted by the mail from the local wizard asking me to pay him a visit at his tower. A mysterious request like that made me feel pretty anxious, so I burned some anxious energy first chopping some farm trees whilst I worked up the courage to get over there. He showed me one of the little green buddies from the community centre, otherwise known as a Junimo, who didn't look pleased to be there. I was getting the vibe that he was jealous that the Junimo was showing interest in me and not him, but I explained about the plaque in the community centre, which he had to go take a look at for himself. He came back with a translation which said that the Junimos will help us in exchange for gifts, but I will only understand the language if I'm one with the forest. I guess I'm not naturally the foresty type, but apparently it's nothing some weird green juice can't fix, which the wizard just so happened to have bubbling away. He was looking terrifyingly enthusiastic about me drinking this. This is the kind of thing they warn us about, and yet, I did it anyway. I could now understand the Junimo language, but I wasn't feeling so good. Coming out of the tower, I headed for the nearest bush to throw up, and suddenly hit the ground. I woke up in my own bed the morning of day 7. No idea how I got here. I was hoping to find the answer in my mail, but instead I found Hops looking a little hammy. What on earth is happening? Maybe I'm just still feeling rough from yesterday, right? Seems the wizard might have dumped me at the clinic last night, how kind of him. Not much I can do now besides at least try to get on with my day. Yes, the time of distraction could actually come in handy. Maybe some fresh air could do me some good too. I left the farm for more seeds and grabbed forage on the... What in the Pam bus? I almost didn't want to walk past it in case it came alive, but I braved it for the dandelion. That thing though, I'm not feeling that right now, and ducked into George and Evelyn's to escape. Except it's Pam and Pam. I'm out of there. Alex was looking more normal, for now. What the heck did he do? Is anyone else seeing this? It's alright, just take a breath and go get the seeds from... Yam? Everyone's been PAMIFIED! I made haste back to the Pam wizard to ask what he did to me and demand that he fix it. He'll look into it and get back to me tomorrow, but he said maybe in the meantime I should just go back home. I didn't feel inclined to trust him after yesterday, but it didn't sound like a bad idea, so that's what I did. Just some more file clearance and an early night in the hopes of sleeping off this nightmare. Unfortunately, Hops was still looking very cursed on day 8, and it seems the wizard didn't have the guts to apologise to my face, so he wrote to me instead.
Dear Emma, my sincerest apologies for the side effects you are currently experiencing. After analysing the residue of your cup after you left the tower, I found traces of Pam's DNA from her hair. I'm not certain how this could have happened, but this would explain what you're experiencing. Whilst I haven't been able to observe the full extent of the concoction's effects, I will not be drinking it myself. Rest assured that most of the valley's human residents are safe from such effects. However, since I don't tend to integrate with the town, I cannot be completely sure. You'll be pleased to know that this isn't permanent. Breaking of the curse is a classic one. True love's kiss. In the meantime, you must know there might be adverse effects unless you limit yourself to only items loved by those who share Pam's DNA. This applies to items you profit from, items you can give as gifts. I was not able to ascertain why this is the case. It would be prudent to get to know Pam and Penny as soon as possible so you can abide by the limitations of your curse. M. Rasmodius.
Well, I guess it's challenge time. Gosh, I can't believe I'm gonna have to marry Pam. You might be wondering about the phrasing there of Pam's DNA. I couldn't find any Pam-themed bundles, but I could find a whole community centre set up completely themed around Penny, and being her daughter, I think this still makes sense. Given that I can only make money from or gift other villagers these items, at least these are some of the main ones, this year will not be without struggle, though the melons in summer are just giving me a wee bit of hope. Thankfully, the names and portraits of everyone else are as they should be, so I can still tell who's who when I speak to them. And there were quite a few spring onions in the forest today to help cheer me up, because those meant I could complete the spring onion magic bundle. My first reward was an early mushroom log, but more importantly, I could now browse through more bundles. Starting with the pantry, these are pretty adorable, but they are also quite varied. I was most concerned about the quality melons and poppies in this room. Then, other than maybe some sandfish, which there is a sandfish bundle, I wasn't sure what to expect from the fish tank bundles, but there are some cute ones in here too, like the Tom Car Soup bundle. Given that I'm going to need to get going with some profit, I finally got around to buying seeds from Pam, and of course went with all parsnips, which left just 3 gold to my name. You'll be pleased to know that I also remembered to make a scarecrow to protect all my precious parsnips, and it was nice having the rain help me out with the planting. For crafting that scarecrow, I could collect 100 gold from my journal. Then I filled my evening with fishing for the community centre donations and XP. Not money, I can't sell them anymore. My day 9 began with quite the watering sesh, and I'm just going to skip over this task from now on. I won't let my prized parsnips dehydrate, don't worry. I got right to work trying to win over the real Pam with one of my stash of parsnips, the rest of which got sold off to Pam for more parsnip seeds. Oh my gosh, so much watering. That motivated me to spend my afternoon in the mines for future sprinkler materials. Like I need any motivation. But anyway, I found some rubber shoes to barely protect my toes, though they didn't last long. I got some leather boots on floor 10. I was going to try and advance to floor 15, but I was pretty low on energy by floor 12, so I took my leave and had to do a second trip to collect the rest of my floor belongings because I forgot to put a chest up there. Day 10 was for some beach fishing and treasure fishing. Look at these chests taking away a bit of my need for mining. How dare they? I left when my backpack got full by lunchtime and swapped out some of my catches at home to make some donations to the community centre. No bundle completions here though. I got sniffed by the Pam mare coming back through town where I fished some more, in need of a smallmouth bass, a bream, and level 3 fishing so I could unlock crab pots. On day 11, I was raring to get back into the mines for this good luck day and successfully set up a chest in there this time. It was a few productive hours, hitting level 2 mining and reaching floor 20, but inside the chest was a steel smallsword objectively worse than my wooden club, so into the trash it went. Instead of carrying on with the mining, I reluctantly trudged over to the beach in this downpour to catch a couple of eels for the community centre and later use. On day 12 we had a big parsnip harvest, plus a couple of carrots which got me another farming level. I carried around the parsnips whilst I took a forest walk and checked out the travelling cart in case I desperately needed anything here. There were some items that the community centre could do with, but most of the bundles have items spread out across multiple seasons, and none of these seemed worth it today. Who needs that when I got some bread I needed from the trash for free? Many of today's parsnips got sold to Pierre so I could buy more parsnip seeds, but I saved some gold this time with the egg festival tomorrow. After dropping a few more donations off to the community centre, I brought my saved parsnip to the real Pam and got the next batch planted up. The reason the field looks like this is because I was leaving space for future sprinklers. I'm gonna need materials for those, so I spent the evening in the mines again. Plus I haven't even got to the iron floors yet, so I better get a move on. I only managed to get through a few more floors tonight, but an ancient seed from a grub made up for it. Sure, I won't be able to sell the fruits or wines for a long time, but I can at least try to get my long-term supply started for when we break the curse. I was pleased to see some more parsnips on day 13, and the cauliflower would just be stashed for later. Still lots of watering ahead, but I'd scrounged together just enough iron ore for a single basic sprinkler. I was looking forward to the egg festival today. I only bought 3 strawberry seeds since I can't sell the fruit, then I said hello to the big gathering of the Pams. Not that anyone else was seeing what I could see, and I was kinda glad that I'd already been dealing with this new look for about a week, because it didn't faze me quite so much, and I was on my game enough to just about make it to a dozen eggs. That's more than enough for the win, and now I can match the rest of the town with a golden straw-like crown. I went spring onion picking on day 14 and found Robin's lost axe nearby. Even with that, I still had just enough space in my backpack for my newest batch of parsnip seeds. Felt the regret set in slightly once I began watering them. I really need those sprinklers. I didn't work on that today though. I chopped a load of farm trees and scored a bait and bobber book from one of the trees. Fishing XP without fishing? My favourite kind of reading. I hit level 4 foraging from all that chopping. Then on day 15, I put that wooden foraging level to use with my first few tappers, which I added to one of each tree. I had 5 new donations for the museum from the recent mine strips and got rewarded with some free cauliflower seeds along with my first plantable ancient seed and its crafting recipe. The cauliflowers will add to my watering woes to make sure they'll grow in time, and the ancient seed will wait for the next parsnip harvest, which should be tomorrow. With today marking the start of salmonberry season, I thought it best to pocket as many berries as I could for energy. That'll help with activities like mining, but for today's ore gathering, some field snacks should suffice. I called it a day when I got to the ever disappointing lootless floor 30. I didn't feel like dealing with the dark underground tonight and walked home in the dark overground. Day 16 was another parsnip day. I love how quick these things grow, and there's another farming level. I made sure the ancient seed occupied one of my 2 sprinkler spots since it'll be here until winter. Today's crop got dropped into the Pam bin, but I ended up reclaiming a lot of them to bring one to the real Pam as a gift, and then I sold the rest to Pierre so I could upgrade my backpack. Another helping hand for the mines. Also cherry bombs, those are helpful too. I eventually made my way to floor 40 that night. I didn't care about the slingshot, it was floor 41 on my mind. I tend to reset this one over and over just to gather iron and coal, coming back to the surface to smelt them whilst I'm down there. I went to bed really late, but it meant I could get another 2 sprinklers down before the day was over. On day 17, I went salmonberry picking in the forest, mostly to make sure I collected the yearly pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That comes with the leprechaun hat. I do love that hat, but for this farm, I want to fit in, so I'm keeping the Pam hair coloured one on my head instead. I popped up to the mines just to collect the iron bars and refresh the furnaces so I can make 2 more sprinklers for the farm, and even though this is clearly nowhere near enough, I didn't fancy walking all the way back up to the mines again, so I just cleared out my own quarry and sought out salmonberry bushes on the farm. That wasn't until I realised by night time there'd be 2 more iron bars waiting up there for me, and the prospect of 2 more sprinklers was enough to entice me into the hike. Plus, I needed to bring home some coal to make my first preserves jar. The community centre is in need of pickles. Surprise surprise, I picked more parsnips on day 18, and as per usual, most of them are sold to Pam for even more parsnip seeds. But the best quality parsnip? That's for the real Pam's birthday. I had a slightly worse one to gift to Penny. Yeah, I've kind of been neglecting her friendship. I'll do better at some point this year, but right now, all I care about is marrying her mother to break this darn curse. Once I got my next parsnips in the ground, I got back to mining. I really don't want to water them all. I pushed my way down another 5 floors, then went back to the trusty floor resets. Though when I do this, I do allow myself to go down any ladders that appear, which does mean less smelting gets done, but the 3 sprinklers I came home with means 12 less parsnips to water in the morning. On day 19, I paced around outside Jodie's till her door unlocked so I could bring her a cauliflower for a curry. Seems doing the dishes is one of the activities that can break the illusion. I suppose I should have mentioned that getting gold from quests are okay, since they're more about helping people. As for the rest of the stuff in my backpack, those were for the community centre. Still no new bundles completed though. The great luck meant another great day for the mines, and it really was a lucky day. I found a slightly more lethal new wooden weapon to replace my old wooden weapon, then I got a better pair of boots from floor 50. At that point, I paused the downwards progress so I could just reset floors to gather coal from dust sprites for the rest of the night. I came home with 7 more sprinklers. I'd rejoiced in the feel of my time and energy being freed up from the significantly reduced farm chores, but the rain already doing that for me on day 20 significantly dampened my sense of achievement. Whilst I do have space for a few more sprinklers, I wasn't in the mines for ores today. I was squashing blue slimes because those have a chance to drop winter roots, and I need 5 of those for the community centre. Tunnel visioning them meant I could complete the roots platter bundle, and what do you know? 5 root platters were the reward. I'm allowed to gift or sell these. Having a look at the newly unlocked boiler room bundles, the dwarfish bundle is definitely my favourite, and I already had an amethyst for the earth science one. The woman in STEM bundle is a lovely idea, but its items will be a little more difficult. Even though I didn't do any actual mining today, I was still smelting what I had so I could make 5 more sprinklers. But now, my daily watering is over. I gathered up any boiler room items I already had to donate, including my very first copy of Dwarf Scroll 3. I want the minecarts more right now, and I know I'll get more scrolls later. Even better, I already have everything I needed for the Earth Sciences bundle, which rewarded me with a whole geode crusher. I can open geodes for free now without waiting for the recipe or crafting one. Now we have the bulletin board bundles. There were a couple of vanilla ones in here like the children's bundle and the helpers bundles, but I think they still fit the theme. The new ones are the Penny bundle and the Pam bundle asking for their favourites, but then we have the bookshelf bundle. It's great for the theme, but I really don't want to donate my future books. I got my first ripe strawberries on day 21, which I won't be selling or anything, however I do need them for a couple of different community centre bundles. I got a whole free meal from Gus's Trash whilst I was in town to bring Pam a parsnip for a new gift week, and used the map of Pam's to help me track down Penny to give her one too. I bought 50 more parsnip seeds from PM and dropped off a few new minerals to the museum so I could get hold of the free melon seeds ahead of summer. As for those parsnips, I decided maybe I could stick out a bit more watering just a little longer. The summer melons are going to be way more profitable, so I need to go into the new season with as much cash for seeds as possible. Then for the evening, I stuck around the farm clearing away more of the overgrowth whilst making good use of my geocrusher. Day 22 and a mass of parsnips were upon us once again. You know by now I sold most of them to purchase more seeds, so I'll skip over all that. I had a lot of running around this day, first to the mines to take the pre-smelted iron to make the crab pot I forgot about, which I set up on the farm to trap a snail I need for the community centre. It was then over to the beach to bring Winnie the farm fresh single green bean he requested, followed by bringing myself all the way back to the mines just to slay ghosts for gold ore. I even got a bonus dwarf scroll from this one, and the single gold bar I wanted to smelt was for the community centre too. I'd reached level 5 farming from this morning's parsnips, so for my first profession, I picked tiller and immediately regretted not waiting a day to sell that harvest. There's level 4 combat as well, and at least I did put some parsnips in the shipping bin today. On day 23, I wanted to bring the next lot of goodies to the Junimos, and it was a good thing I checked the town's trash cans first because I salvaged a whole red plate from Gus's trash. I need that for Penny's bundle. I grabbed a final 30 parsnip seeds for the season. Tomorrow will be the last day I can plant them, but everywhere will be closed for the flower dance, and I couldn't remember if there'd be any to harvest and replant tomorrow. Better safe than sorry. I then happily handed over my donation, today completing the dwarvish bundle. That gave me the dwarf rare crow for free! And that, of course, opens up the vault room, but it's definitely going to be a while before I can spend any money in here. Those bundles are just the same as the vanilla ones in cost. I returned to the farm to set up my rare crow and got 3 of those parsnip seeds planted. At this point, I wish past me bothered to check when the next harvest would be ready, because I definitely won't be needing the remaining 27 of these seeds. I brought them back to Pierre to resell to him at half their cost. I'd rather be able to afford a couple more melon seeds in summer. To make the trip to town a little less disappointing, I donated 6 new minerals to the museum. It really was way more worth it. I got a starfruit seed in time for summer. I'm not one to dwell on my mistakes. I picked up my spirits and mined for more sprinkler materials for the rest of the day. Day 24 was the flower dance. I didn't bother buying anything here, I can just get them next year. I did the rounds with all the Pams, then tracked down the Pamest Pam of them all and asked her to dance. She gladly accepted, but it was actually kind of weird that the rest of the dancers looked normal while we were being watched by a crowd of Pams, and the real Pam quite simply stood there. She didn't even try. Amazing. I got over that sight real quick when I woke up to the sight of a scattered parsnip harvest the next morning. Since I don't have time for another parsnip planting, these went into the shipping bin for the Pam in there to handle. Don't worry, she'll still pay me overnight. And hey, there's my first snail in the crab pot. I know there's a bundle waiting only for that item, and on my way to go donate it, I dug up my very first book. Shame I can't read it, I gotta donate that one too. The snail was to complete the organic science bundle. I got a deluxe worm bin for that to make my fishing missions easier. I reluctantly left that book at the bulletin board, then popped to the beach for some forage when I realised I've still not repaired the beach bridge. I went home to drop off the deluxe worm bin and chop down enough trees so I can get it done. I'll soon be needing the forage here to make a bait machine for the upcoming trout derby in the summer. This got me in the foraging mood, so I bagged myself some more spring onions from the forest and chopped down even more trees on the farm to replenish my wood supply. Speaking of wood, I picked forester for my level 5 profession for all the kegs I'm gonna need and profited 1700 gold from the day's parsnips. I got on with the near emptying of the field for even more parsnips the following day. The field starts to look a little sad towards the end of the seasons, but so that I don't have to begin summer with a slog of tilling and watering, I threw together some sacrifice forage seeds just to keep the sprinkler spots up. I've been checking the travelling cart most of the time that she's here without finding anything at all, but today was different. I got my hands on a miner's treat and a coconut at relatively reasonable prices. Most of the day's harvest got sold to Pam. I saved a silver quality one for his birthday, with a gold one reserved for the real Pam. Obviously the cash from today's parsnip sale wasn't for more immediate seeds. It was instead so I could afford an axe upgrade from Clam, so I can chop hardwood stumps on the farm. In dropping off the morning's cart purchases at the community centre, I noticed that the Friends Favourites bundle was just a single item away from completion. One of those is much easier to obtain than the others, so I visited the saloon to pick up a pizza and checked off another bundle. The reward wasn't very pleasing though, a loom I'll probably never use. I tend to get my cloth from recycling machines and mummies in Skull Caverns. My afternoon was spent crushing dust sprites for coal and gathering stones for a quest. Then I was going to try get myself some floor 60 treasure, but I ended up giving up on the spiral floor 59 because I wanted to try find Ropam at the saloon to hand in the stone quest. Easier said than done when the people were looking so alike, and it turned out she'd already left by then. It's all good, I managed to chase her down on her way home. On day 27, I gathered up my last little harvest of the season and squeezed in another farming level. Now that I'm done with the freshwater crab pot fish, I moved my single crab pot down to the beach hoping for a shrimp for the Tom Carr soup bundle, and left a chest nearby for easy bait refill. Pamela got a parsnip for her birthday, and I got another little friendship boost by bringing her an amethyst she asked for. It's not her gift, don't worry. I got a prize ticket for it and she paid me. I didn't claim this prize ticket though. This one went to the helpers bundle. With my errands done, I could spend my evening in the mines to actually make it to floor 60 this time, but all I got was a crystal dagger, and I don't really like daggers that much. I carried on to the floor 65 elevator and brought home some good supplies late that night, enough to make myself a glowstone ring. I can now see whilst I plant the coffee beans I got in the mines today, and I got level 5 mining. I'm going with the miner profession. My bees produced some honey on day 28 which I wanted to bring to the community centre, but not before bringing the real Pam a parsnip for the new gift week. We're now at 8 hearts, so I delayed my donation drop off a little longer to purchase some vinegar for another bundle, but more importantly, a bouquet to take things with the real Pam to the next step. She accepted. Not quite gladly, but hey, we're a step closer to breaking this stupid curse. After grabbing my axe from Clint, it was donation time. I completed the Better Than Booze bundle and got some deluxe speed grower in perfect time for a triple melon harvest next season. Back on the farm, I sought out every hardwood stump I could find. Hardwood might have seemed like an odd focus, but I was really after getting a mahogany seed for the brave little sapling bundle. I'm not sure if I was just unlucky or if I can't get them on the farm like this, but I didn't get a single one. I knew I should have gone with a pickaxe. I've got a lot of hope for this summer because Penny loves melons, so I can sell as many of them as I want, and poppies as well, but they're not quite as good. Shame I couldn't afford that many seeds. Yeah, that's more points of regret for the axe upgrade. Seriously, I did have to sell some stuff back to afford some other seeds I'm gonna need for bundles. I did have some donations with me. The first batch were for the museum. Not sure why I didn't even check on what the reward was. Then I dropped off a sweet pea and some more pickles to the community centre on my way home to get the rest of the planting done. I feel really silly now preparing all of this fertiliser. The field's more than half empty. This is just sad. So I added 10 summer forage seeds just to feel something, and to save at least some of this fertiliser. I brought Pam another gold parsnip in the morning of day 30. Sadly, I had to take some of my best ones out of my gift stash to sell to Pierre so I could afford the variety of seeds I didn't get yesterday. Plus an extra melon and an extra wheat will be good. Not much else to report until I fished in the evening for a pike, a fishing level, and a shad. That's another 2 donations down, and some new crafting recipes unlocked. On day 31, I fished outside the Pam Mare's house waiting for it to open in the hopes of catching a couple of rainbow trout. They're a pretty common fish, so it shouldn't take me too long. Here's my first one. That's for the community centre. Now I just need one more so I can turn it into bait for the trout derby. And that's a sunfish. Okay, how about the next one? Nope. That's alright, it'll be soon, right? Where's this darn trout? My goodness, I've been here all day. The rivers. I've been scanned into all of this finally. I really gotta get out of here. What's the bet that this prize will be just as disappointing? Go away, Lewis! Yeah, it's probably just gonna be— ooh, seeds! Anyway, with that run out of my system, I felt good enough to fish some more at the pier. Mainly for this red mullet, but I'll certainly take a super cucumber. I used the red mullet to complete the rainbow fish bundle, which rewarded me with a bait and bobber. I'd love to just read it, but no, it's gotta go to the bookshelf. Day 32 was spent in the mines for a decent luck day, where I claimed the master slingshot from floor 70, and scored a monster compendium from floor 74, which thankfully I don't have to donate. I can read it right here, right now. The monsters can now give me extra loot on my way down to floor 80 where I claimed the Firewalker boots, but the reason I was rushing down there was to be able to reset floor 81 for gold ore towards future quality sprinklers. On day 33, I brought my ores back up to the mines where the furnaces are because I didn't mean to take them home. The couple of roots platters I had with me were to sell to Pam, which I can do because Penny loves them, but that was so I could fund a corn seed and some more wheat for beer. When I refilled my crab pot on the beach, I leveled up in foraging from an oyster in the sand. Then I came home to plant my seeds, including a handful of mixed ones I got in the mines. I was planting these in the hopes of getting melons, but I always forget that it's not in fact a thing, and you can only get melons from mixed seeds on Ginger Island. Speaking of seeds, I was hoping to have better luck with a mahogany seed on the farm today, and managed to track down a single hardwood stump that I missed. No seed here either. I guess I'm going to have to work towards another axe upgrade to try and get into the secret woods. On day 34, I set up a couple more bee houses to make mead later, and I wanted to add another crab pot to the beach because I wasn't having much luck getting a shrimp for the community centre, and what do you know, there's a shrimp today. That completed the Tonka soup bundle. Can you guess the reward? That's right, a few bowls of Tonka soup. I left one of them to Penny's bundle, and the others I brought home so I can either gift or sell them later. I got back to me mining that afternoon. Still kinda rough with a basic pickaxe, but I can't afford to upgrade it right now. It was worth struggling through it to find a diamond with my next mining level. I wanted to persevere with my poor pickaxe down to floor 90 today, but I gave up for the night on floor 87 to give myself enough time to donate that diamond to the Women in STEM bundle. Now the title of this bundle excites me, but the periodic table poster reward certainly did not. Who cares though? That's our first room completed. I guess I'll put the poster on the wall anyway. It does look kinda good there, but the sight of the minecarts being repaired? That's what dreams are made of. On day 35, I had to part with more of my parsnip stash and a roots platter so that I could buy 5 wheat seeds? Nah, this was just so I could leave enough cash to buy some green tea from the travelling cart. I lightened my load in my backpack of all the rocks and artifacts for the museum, but quickly refilled it again with all the reward furniture I've been ignoring. The Singing Stone and Big Blue Bear got their spots on the farm, and even though these are strange locations for them, I feel like they also don't look out of place, so that's where they'll be staying. I haven't got space for the paintings, so those are going in a chest, along with the green tea for now, because I'm a little while off being able to complete the alcohol-free bundle. That's when I noticed I don't have that much wood left, so it's an evening of wood chopping for me. I got this copy of Woody Secret, which will help with that, because I don't need to donate it to the bookshelf. The poppies brighten my day in the dreary weather on day 36. I am going to need to plant more of them though. The summer garden bundle needs 5 gold quality ones. I got into town a bit earlier than Pierre's opened, but that allowed me time to begin a bulletin board quest to say hello to all the town Pams. I eventually got round to entering the general store where I sold off a few of my poppies to afford more seeds. Then, many greetings later, I'd more than depleted my social battery and daylight hours, so I called it a day with just a few Pams to go. Those can wait till tomorrow. I just got my new poppy seeds in the ground and turned in for an early night. I had a pleasant little harvest to tend to the next day, though the forage that's ready I'll be leaving until I have other seeds to replace them with. My main focus for today was getting my last hellos in for the town greeting quest, but after all that running around, I forgot to collect the reward from my journal. At the moment, my main source of general progress is waiting on the melons and poppies to grow, so I filled this day with even more wood chopping and got another foraging level for my efforts. Day 38 and here are the melons! I'll be saving some of those for bundles, but as you probably guessed, I'll be selling the rest direct for more seeds. Except it's Wednesday, and Pierre's is closed, and it's the luau tomorrow, so he's closed then too. Now I regret picking them. I guess the triple harvest was a bit pointless without the prep. Might as well just ship most of them then, I guess. I saved the deluxe bee grow with some forage seeds. When I get something better, I'll just axe the plants. I moved on to better things, donating a whole bunch of stuff to various bundles. Even if I didn't complete any this time, then I headed up to the mines to get me some more shinies and break fiber and floor 81 to try and get as many free mixed flower seeds as I could. Through a whole afternoon and evening, I came out with 8 of them, and left with enough time to bring one of the emeralds I got down there to finish Penny's own bundle. I didn't get anything useful here, just the strawberry decal, but it is at least cute, and before bed, I changed out some of the forage seeds to the flower seeds I gathered. Overnight, I made almost 3.5 grams from those melons. Then day 39 was the luau. As you can see, the curse is still cursing, so I thought I'd better bring an ingredient that fits with the rules. I was a little sad to part with one of my gold quality melons that I needed, but it pleased the governor and all the Pams, so no regrets. On day 40, I continued to stock up on wheat and reached level 7 farming. One more to go until we can start turning all of this into beer. In place of those will go some more melons, and with the field now full of good seeds, I'm looking forward to the next big harvest. I was feeling some more tree chopping, but I took a quick break when I remembered I needed to buy ice cream in town. I was too late though, Alex had already left, and he won't sell it tomorrow on his traditionally stormy birthday. I hid from that storm in the shelter of the mines, where I got a weapon to replace my now weak wood mallet. It's the obsidian edge. I later even made it to floor 100 and had a late dinner of a stir drop. I recovered with a taste of... Huh? Pam? That was weird. I wanted to carry on down to floor 105 to take my mind off of that, but I was stuck on 104 for a while and it was getting kinda late, so I just crafted a staircase to get me to the elevator. I hit level 5 combat that day, so for my level 5 profession, I'm going with fighter as usual. On day 42, I harvested some blueberries, a single melon, and some radishes. Of course, I can't sell the radishes, nor the blueberries at the moment, but I do need 1 blueberry for a bundle, and the single melon I brought right to Pierre to get more melon seeds. I won't have time for many more at this point. The blueberry got donated to the Play with Paint bundle. I was a little worried about this one, because I either need to hope that the travelling cart brings a cactus fruit, or I need to pay to restore the bus. And it's not like I've been drowning in gold this year. A lot of what was left in my wallet was reserved for buying an ice cream from the stand, which went straight into the children's bundle before it could melt. It was late afternoon by the time I could get back to the mines to unlock some deeper floors. Getting down to floor 110, I got some awesome space boots. That's when I noticed I'd gotten a cudgel at some point, which I prefer over the obsidian edge because it's a club. All of my spare weapons and boots I've been storing in my mines chest. I'll be selling them all after the curse is broken. I didn't go home just yet though. Through the power of sheer will, determination, and, well, another staircase, I made it down to floor 120 and slipped the skull key into my wallet for whenever we can get to the desert. It was a morning of crop tending on day 43. No, seriously, the whole morning, and a couple of trips to PMs due to my lack of planning. I fished for the afternoon in Cindersap Forest, though if I'm honest, I can't remember why. That's about it really for this day. It was a quiet one. My first ancient fruit was amongst day 44's harvest, which I planned to save to turn back into seeds for after the curse. I did my usual crop seed trade-in with one of the poppies, then spent the entire day breaking fibre for seeds and searching for fire quartz to smelt. Those were to make my first quality sprinklers. It really felt like a victory, actually being in need of extra planting space. On day 45, I had to clear some space around my crop zone where I'd expanded, removing the long grass that was creeping closer to the house. Some fresh poppies could be donated to the summer garden bundle, and now I just gotta wait for some top quality melons. I had a couple of gems for the museum too, and got some free pumpkin seeds ready for next season. Then, on my way to find Emily for a fetch quest, I won a trash catalogue outside Jodie's. The reason I was keen to hand off this iron bar to Emily is because I knew she had a prize ticket for me. This peach sapling will go nicely on the farm. I usually wait until I get the greenhouse to plant these, but that's a long way off, and as of 1.6, we get the sapling back if we chop it down anyway, so I can always move it later. I hunted for more mixed flower seeds that evening, but didn't find a single one, but we'll have better loot soon. Mr. Key dumped a plane load of mystery boxes all over town whilst I slept. I was hoping to have better luck the next day with all the weeds that sprouted with the green rain anyway. After scything through the whole of Cindersap Forest and the mountain area, I came home with 20 of them, and of course, I was mostly just hoping for more poppies. On day 47, I brought a few more poppies to Pam so I could buy a parsnip soup from the travelling cart for Pam's community centre bundle. Hayley was after an earth crystal which I brought to her at the beach, then I fished in the forest again just to hit level 5. It was then up to the mines for the evening, hoping to get some mystery boxes for the helpers bundle. I only got this one for the entire time I was there, however I did complete the bug monster slayer goal, and I got my first prismatic shard from the annoying flying ones. I'm gonna keep this one for the galaxy sword. For my level 5 fishing profession, I chose fisher. Not that I can really use the increased fish value right now. Then day 48 was filled with even more fishing for the first day of the trout derby. My usual strategy for this is to make a bunch of rainbow trout bait to mostly just catch those, but I've not been able to craft a bait maker since it requires level 6 fishing to unlock, and I've been too broke to afford a new fishing rod. So here I stand, a girl, a bamboo fishing pole, and a dream. As in a daydream, though I don't have to think about all this fishing I have to do. The tags were pretty slow going without using targeted bait, but I did also score another ancient seed, and sticking it out way into the night, I only got 3 tags all day. In other playthroughs, in this situation, I'd probably have binned off the trout derby until next year, but this time, I'm being stubborn. I want my 10 tags. Did I get them this time? No, I did not. I got 7. Here's a quick rundown of the prizes I got. From those, I was most chuffed with the triple shot espressos and the quality sprinkler. The sprinkler's really all I did it for. There's the next few poppies and melons on day 50, and this is when I noticed my only ancient fruit got zapped by lightning. I shopped to make myself feel better and bought some wheat seeds in bulk. Well, bulk for this cursed farm. I couldn't help a bit of dumpster diving before I went home and found some cookies in the Molnar's trash. That's the last thing I need for the children's bundle. Before donating it, I wanted to pop home to fetch a melon to bring to Pamitrius for his research. Imagine my surprise when I found him waiting on my doorstep. He wanted to set up an experiment for either mushroom growing or fruit bats in my farm cave. I do need fruit for the community centre, so I opted for the bats. He left before I could hand him a melon, but I had to leave the farm again anyway to bring some green algae to Pierre, and then I completed the children's bundle. I was expecting to come away with some batteries, but instead I got some cake. What am I going to do with cake? Now the 550 gold I got from Demetrius? That I can use. At some point. Not today. Today I just chopped wood and started a tree farm for more Tapper products. On day 51, the morning's harvest got me so close to level 8 farming that it was painful. Like, probably a single crop away. Oh, I left this one behind. Maybe if it wasn't wheat. I added a couple more bee houses to my little collection, then delivered a bream to George so I could get another prize ticket. I wasn't too bothered about the mixed seeds I got from there, but it moved me closer to getting 3 more mystery boxes for the helpers bundle. I've not been having much luck finding them elsewhere. I returned home to add some paths to my tree farm, then headed to bed really early, anticipating a decent income from a few crops, emeralds, and even diamonds, as well as anticipating the massive harvest the following morning. Not only did I reach level 8 farming, the biggest melon picking of the season was finally upon us. Yes is closed today, so shipping bin Pam will take care of the ones I want to sell, and I got more than enough gold ones to complete the summer garden bundle. My summer garden could absolutely do with a couple more sprinklers. Demetrius kept my afternoon busy with some tuna fishing. Apparently the population was threatening the other species, then I took care of my tree farm again. I added some fertilizer to it. Grow faster. I need that oak resin for kegs. On day 53, I was on my way to buy some more wheat from Pierre's when I noticed he'd put a note out for a hot pepper. I went back to fetching one first before loading up on seeds. Whoops! There goes Pam profiting off my mistakes again. The other hot pepper I had with me was for George's knee. Then I came home to find my seed guesstimation wasn't quite right. Once again, that's another trip to Pam's. I bought more than enough this time. I'll be using these into fall anyway, and it's totally not because I counted and forgot the number as soon as I got to the counter. Not at all. There were a few more trees to clear out of the crop area, and some of that wood went into my first 5 kegs. I don't have a place picked out for them yet, but they're just going outside the house. I got those loaded up with some coffee, beer and juice. It was the oak resin I actually ran out of for the kegs, but I chopped more wood anyway in the hopes of finding more mystery boxes. They really are remaining as mysterious as their name this year. I checked my fruit cave for the first time on day 54 to find there were only forageable fruits in here. Rubbish. Sure, there are some early fall fruits, but fall is literally 2 days away. The travelling merchant had something better. I bought an orange there, or maybe she stole it from my cave and sold it to me, who knows. I had a much grander purchase on my mind after that. I wanted to buy the mermaid's pendant to propose to Pam. I completely forgot I have to upgrade my house first to have space for a wife though. Yikes. Thankfully, I had enough gold to ask Pam for that extension. We shall remain cursed for a few extra days. I wish I noticed before I visited her that she was in need of a flounder, but I'm not afraid of an extra walk in the rain, especially for a prize ticket. This is an important one. I collected 3 more mystery boxes, and with the other 2 I had at home, I could complete the helper's bundle, for which my thanks was the Stardrop tea. On day 55 I replaced the harvested crop spots with summer forage seeds to hold the sprinkler spots for me. I could have just planted more wheat, but I was sure this curse would be over relatively soon, so I want to have the option to plant larger quantities of other crops. To show you how optimistic I am, I made another full quality sprinklers. I would have made more, but I ran out of ores, so I gladly mined my afternoon away. On day 56, I said goodbye to the last of the melons in the crop field and planted up a whole bunch more forage seeds. I know there are no sprinklers in some of the spaces, but I was confident I'd remember to make more today. I was already in a good mood knowing I had the items to complete Pam's own bundle in the community centre and got 2 more kegs for my beer production. I should mention, I know I could have gone with Pale Ale too for money, but we can look at that next year. I got those sprinklers placed and got some tappers ready for when the tree farm is grown, but these won't be enough. I'm gonna need a lot more copper for tappers and kegs, so I mined for more until the Moonlight Jellies Festival, where all the Pams, and Hayley apparently, came to watch the phenomenon of these bioluminescent wiggly wobbly friends on their yearly visit to the shallows, marking the end of another season. I love the feel of beginning a brand new season with a bountiful harvest. Look at all this wheat! Oh, and the sunflowers I suppose, though I might avoid replanting those if I can help it. I had some broccoli, pumpkin and wheat seeds on hand, then brought the real Pam some pale ale she wrote to me about on my way to buy more seeds. I wanted at least one of most things, but went a little extra on the yams so that glazed yams might be an option. I kinda regret getting the fairy seeds here. I spent a whole grand on them when I could just get them from mixed flower seeds, and you might notice I didn't buy any pumpkins and opted to go with majority wheat again. I have no idea when it's going to rain for the mariner to visit, so for now I just need to assume I'm under this curse until we see it pop up on the weather forecast. Plus I might find pumpkins in the regular mixed seeds too. With the trees now grown, I prioritised the oak trees with my available tappers, and the corn juice I've had in the keg was finally ready, so today I completed the alcohol-free bundle and came home with another preserves jar. With a few mead and pale ales, I made back enough gold to top up my balance so we can afford the mermaid's pendant whenever the opportunity arises. Then it looks like Penny was feeling more like herself for her birthday on day 58. I brought her a melon in the library. I wasn't going to let this great luck day go to waste. I spent it in the mine. I needed to farm for coal for all that smelting too, plus I had Clint's cave patrol as my first special order, so I targeted the bats whilst I was at it. I didn't finish that quest today, but I felt like it was a productive enough one with all of these metal bars I could bring home. I got right back to the bat slaying the next day. I really don't recommend doing this without Monster Musk. Obviously, I worked on it a lot of yesterday, and without doing anything else on this day, it still took me until after 10 PM to destroy my 50th bat. The 6 grand was well worth it though. On day 60, I chopped a single farm tree for a request for Robin. She'd asked for 30 wood, but she paid me and didn't bother taking it. My price ticket for the Cave Patrol quest was the Stardrop tea. Then I decided I procrastinated enough on the new season's fishing and brought my rod to the town river to catch a tiger trout and a salmon. With those, I completed the Down by the Bridge bundle for a recycling machine and the Rainy Night Recipes bundle for a fish smoker. That'll be awesome one day. Today's fishing didn't take long, so I had the whole evening free to go back to my favourite place, the mines. I even got another ancient seed from a bug whilst I was mining for all the copper. On day 61, I hit level 9 farming, harvesting all of my wheat, and I'm still in beer production mode, so I bought another 100 to replant. I'm gonna need to save some of my money with the rain coming in tomorrow, but I could spare some gold for a couple of vault bundles. Starting with the 2500 gold bundle, I got a few red plates, one of Penny's love gifts, but for the 5 grand bundle, I got a stupid paper hat. I came home to get another batch of beer in. These should net me a bit of daily income. I got that replanting done, then I had the idea to make the farm maybe a little bit more presentable before the original Pam moves in, and bought a few path recipes from Robin. Shame I changed my mind when I got back. I just made the remaining tapas the tree farm needed and went to bed so I could race over to the Old Mariner in the rain to buy the mermaid's pendant the next morning. I don't care how drenched I got, I brought it straight over to the Pam trailer, but it wasn't her at home, it was Penny, upset about the mess. I helped clean the place up. I thought it would be a nice surprise for Pam to come home to a clean place, and it was a good chance for me to spend time with another future family member, but when the real Pam walked in, we didn't get the reaction we expected. Pam and Penny had quite the row whilst I awkwardly stood by with the pendant in my pocket. I don't think today's the day for a proposal. I don't want her answer to come out of emotion. We remain cursed for at least another day, so for the rest of this one, I dried off in the mines gathering copper. On day 63, Penny wrote to me apologising for what happened yesterday. She told me to forget it happened, and believe me, I've been trying. Seems the main Pam has moved on from those events, so it felt like a good time as any to pop the pendant. Her initial reaction, or lack thereof, worried me a bit, but I could breathe again when she said yes. The end of the curse is near. I just gotta get that wedding over with, and once the curse is broken, I can find a partner for real. I left Pam to the wedding planning and made a couple more sprinklers for the farm. I kinda wandered around the place a lot, questioning my life choices a little, and chopped a single tree so Robin could take a look at the wood again. The yams were ready on day 64, but having realised I also need to buy the sugar to make the glazed yams, I just replaced them all with wheat. I got a handful of mystery boxes opened and got some free pumpkin seeds amongst the loot, but I was really hoping to score a book cheaply before I visit the bookseller. From Marcello, I purchased the cheapest book available that was also requested by the bookshelf bundle, which happened to be a Woodcutter's Weekly for 5,000 gold. I still had plenty of cash left over to buy more wheat seeds, then donating that book to the community centre, I got a bookshelf to display all the books I no longer own. How thoughtful. Oh well, that's room number 2 done, the bulletin board. I suppose I do also have an empty room in my house. There we go. Much better. I checked in on Pam to see how the wedding planning was going, and to check if the wedding was still actually going ahead. She offered to make us some coffee, but needed some help plugging the coffee machine back in, as Penny had unplugged it before she left that morning. It seems to say that she doesn't really make coffee here often, but I couldn't think long on that one, because she mentioned how close I was standing to her. Given I'm supposed to marry her in a few days, I decided not to step away, and it was Penny's turn for an awkward entrance. She wasn't all that happy about how close Pam and I have gotten, and it took Pam some time to find out what was actually wrong. I guess Pam never even told her we were dating? We're freaking engaged! I stood by another row, still processing the fact that Pam hadn't told her daughter, though apparently I felt the need to say something in this moment. I'm gonna be honest, I don't like either of these options, because it is what it looks like, but I wouldn't want to dismiss Penny's feelings either. I had to prioritise the wedding, so I, a little sheepishly, told Penny to respect her mother's decision, and it wasn't exactly shocking that she stormed off to her room in response, so upset that she phased through the door. Pam wanted to have a chat with her about it all, so I gladly took my leave, but then remembered I had a gift with me for Penny. Seems she very quickly accepted the situation, because she was now more upset about living in a trailer, but an emerald definitely helped cheer her up. I took a stroll up the mountain so I could bring Demetrius some refined quartz, because he had a prize ticket for me, then carried on walking upwards for another evening in the mines. This time, I'm not looking for ores. I need to squish enough bugs to get 100 bug meat for Willie's weekly quest, though I didn't even make it halfway by the end of the night. On day 65, I had a massive crops to deal with. I just love how fast wheat grows, so I'm gonna grow some more. No idea how I've tolerated my basic pickaxe for over half of the year, but I was finally ready for an upgrade and handed it over to Clam. I passed Pam's on my way home because, what a shocker, I needed to top up on wheat seeds. The curse is about to be over, but I've decided to shake things up a little compared to most of my other farms. During the seasons we can grow wheat and hops, and whilst I still have a supply of them to process, I want to try and have my main money makers be beer and pale ale rather than only wine. I can still make wine if I run out of wheat and hops, but for summer and fall, I should use those options instead and carry on doing so until I'm almost out of them. I could get back to the bug squashing again that afternoon, and without my pickaxe with me, I can't get distracted by the prospect of mining. Even then, it took till almost midnight to get the remainder of the bug meat I needed. I'll donate it at a more reasonable hour. I had to get back home to sleep so I could wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for my wedding. With this eerie assembly of the Pams, I would say it might be hard to know if the real Pam is up there with me, but the omelette she brought up to the altar with her told me she's the right one. She put the omelette away to reveal her wedding attire. Why just a white dress when you can be a whole white rectangle? I was ready to hear the vows, but Lewis skipped right to the kiss. Look at that! The townies are back to normal. I think it worked. Life really will be different from now on, and the future really does look bright. I could tell the sight of all this beer was making Pam happy to be a part of the farm, at least for now. Maybe she really just married me for the beer actually, because she seems a little repulsed by me. I'm not going to divorce her on her wedding day, that would be cruel. I had plenty of other stuff to take care of anyway, and why is the bus still so Pammy? Something doesn't quite seem right. I got on with my to-do list for now, like dropping off that bug meat for Willy, collecting my next couple of prize tickets, returning Linus's berry basket, then informing the wizard that I thought I should have broken the curse, but I was still seeing some of Pam where there shouldn't be. He'll write to me when he's looked into it, but for right now, I should stick to the restrictions until I know it's safe not to, so I just foraged blackberries to eat for the rest of the day. On day 67, I wanted to check out what Pam had done to her spouse room and found it looking a lot more like Abigail's taste. I think this is actually the default one for the mod, and I couldn't find a specifically dedicated spouse room for Pam anywhere, so let me know if this exists in the comments, because if there is, I'm curious. Stepping outside, I had some more wheat to harvest, and eagerly checked the mail to find the wizard already had some news.
Dear Emma, well done on breaking the curse so much faster than I anticipated. I suppose the congratulations are in order for your new marriage. So long as you remain married to Pam, you should no longer be bound by the limitations of your curse, so feel free to gift and sell anything you wish. However, I do note that there are still some lingering energies, so you may still see some lasting side effects for quite some time around the valley. I can only hope that they gradually wear off. M. Rasmodius.
This is not good news. We're stuck with Pam. I guess I just need to get used to it. At least the other effects are just visual and not truly harmful, just harmful to my eyeballs. Oh well, I can start shipping all the stuff I've ordered now. My shipping tab is gonna look so much better after all of this, though like I said, just for fun, I'll still be heavily focusing my main income on beer and pale ale in the kegs, maybe a little bit of mead too. I can also start gifting more of a variety of stuff towards all the friendships I've been neglecting, and that includes Jodie's birthday, but we'll ignore the fact that her and Penny have diamonds in common as a love gift. You have no idea how excited I was to buy these pumpkin seeds from Pierre. I can make a few pickles to sell now too. I didn't forget to pick up my pickaxe from Clint's, which I brought with me to the mines, not to do any mining, but to fill up my backpack with the boots and weapons I've been storing to finally sell to the Adventurers Guild. I kept the obsidian edge in case I want it later, and checking in with Gil, I had an insect head I immediately sold to add to my earnings a little more. Most of all though, it was the shipping income I was looking forward to tonight. All that hoarded stuff brought in almost 13.5 grand. On day 68, I grew my keg collection and moved them all indoors. I had to move the furniture around to plan for more in the future. In this house, kegs come first. I got Clint started on my steel axe upgrade before browsing through the travelling cart items to find anything for the community centre. I didn't need anything here, but I accidentally bought an eel. I can't even blame the curse for this one, an entire grand gone just like that. I don't think you'll be surprised when I told you that the mines made for a perfect Friday. Once again, not much actual mining. I really needed more coal again from the dust sprites. Day 69 was indeed nice. It added to my countless wheat harvests. In another effort to make up some more gold, I cleared some forage out of my storage and turned them into seeds to sell because it's worth more to sell them this way. I had a particularly valuable donation for the museum today. One of yesterday's monsters dropped me my 4th and final dwarf scroll. I don't remember the earliest I've ever gotten the Dwarvish translation guide, but this certainly feels like it's somewhere on my personal leaderboard. I wasn't expecting it at all. I bought even more pumpkin seeds from Pierre whilst we still have a limited window to grow them. Then that evening, Penny asked me to come over and chat in an effort to get along for Pam. I brought an emerald with me to help with that, but when I got there, I only found Pam there instead, as bewildered as I was. It looks like Penny wanted to surprise us both with a date. Aside from the fact it was at Penny's home, Pam knew it was her because there was a hopefully now cooked frozen pizza on the table for us to share. Penny's not that much of a cook. She came around to the idea of us after all, and she really does have to get used to it now. It was at this point that Pam admitted she does want to keep me around, and I felt like I should really say it back. She doesn't need to know what my plans were before. Maybe we could make a decent pair, even if it was just through the enjoyment of pizza. I tracked down Penny outside to thank her, though her follow-up was to ask me if either actions or intentions are more important. I genuinely think that, well, depending on the situation, it should really be both. What weird timing for a question like that. Anyway, before turning in for the night, I blew up the rock in the mines cave so I could bring the dwarf an initial gift. I didn't buy anything from their shop today. My next spending target is the vault room, and having shipped a load more stuff I've been saving in my chests, this 15 grand I got overnight is really going to help with that, as will this next pumpkin and wheat harvest for the pickles and beer. I did spend a few grand at the travelling cart that day on a couple of seafoam pudding, considerably cheaper than Pierre sold it at the Moonlight Jelly Festival. My next stop was Clint's to collect my steel axe, followed by Pierre's shop. There, I bought a single fairy rose seed, having accidentally harvested the one producing the extra valuable honey, and I got a load more wheat and pumpkin seeds. I brought those home to the soil before chopping my way into the secret woods so I could finally obtain my first mahogany seed, then delivered Marnie a cave carrot for her goats and some amaranth for her cows. I barged past her into her room to snatch Lewis's shorts from the ground, which I returned to him promptly just outside. I didn't feel like messing with him this time, I was just after some extra cash. That mahogany seed I brought over to the crafts room in the community centre to complete the brave little sapling bundle and got an extra tapper for my efforts. My tree farm's already full, so I just slapped it on the oak tree closest to my house. I cleared some of the unwanted trees close to it, and this tapper will serve to indicate when the rest of them are done at the tree farm once they're synchronised. I gave Clint more of my business again in the form of a pickaxe upgrade, and whilst that's in progress, I could take care of the farm trees, which had gotten pretty messy again across the place. I wasn't sure my oak resin production will be enough, so I started another smaller oak tree farm, then noticed that it was a new week, and I need to pick out a new special order. I don't have any chickens, and I might soon find fiber seeds useful, so I'm going with community cleanup. I ended my evening with a gift to the dwarf again, then followed it up with another the first thing on day 72. I wanted to buy the dwarf reco again in case I forget it later on, also forgetting I already got one for free. It was the Stardew Valley fair today. I'd selected some of my best farm produce, including the only ancient fruit I ever harvested before the plant got struck by lightning. I said hello to everyone at the first festival where everyone didn't look the same, whilst Lewis was doing the judging, and with that, the Helianthus farm took the blue ribbon. I won! I used my 1000 token prize to spin the wheel till I had enough tokens to trade for the fair's rarecrow, the prize ticket, and my next star drop. Sadly, still another lingering curse effect here. The taster reminds me of Pam. Moving on to day 73, I brought some trash I already kept at home to the big recycling bin by the train station so I can just focus on catching the rest. I like doing this at the bathhouse fountain and found a dig spot close by which had a bone in and a Jack Be Nimble book for some extra defense. A few catches in with Linus supervising, I realised I could collect my pickaxe today, then it was back up to the bathhouse fountain where I stayed till I finished the quest in the night. It wasn't quite so late that I couldn't collect my ticket prizes though, an apple sapling and a Friendship 101 book which I flicked through without even leaving the place. On day 74, I'd become quite the skilled wheat harvester and reached level 10 farming. For Marnie's birthday today, I brought her one of those pink cakes I didn't know what to do with, and looped back uptown to Pierre's to buy a last lot of pumpkin seeds with my regular refill of wheat seeds. It might have seemed a bit late to plant the pumpkins, but they'll be ready just on time in the deluxe speed grow spots. Marnie's birthday gift motivated me to hand out a few more and work on some friendships, then I crashed into bed early from all the socialising to become an artisan for my level 10 farming profession. On day 75, I slowed down a little to lay some pathing on the farm, a job I really meant to do before Pam moved in, and I didn't leave the farm till the evening when I brought Caroline one of my precious pumpkins for Abigail to craft for Spirit's Eve. I then foraged a little at the beach, then pulled out a load of spare produce and forage from my chest so I can make another 14.5 grand. Before spending it on day 76, I brought my tools to the hidden path near the town minecarts and broke the big log and the big rock. Clearly it was a difficult task. I had to stop and take a breather for 3 in-game hours. Once I recovered, I looted the golden trash can at the end. It's a very special treasure container with the alleyway buffet book inside for a greater chance to find items in the trash. Now for a big spend. I came in here having forgotten I already paid the 10 grand bundle, and I can't tell you which day it was, but I do know I got a butterfly hutch for it. That leaves a 25 grand bundle. Let me tell you, the relief I felt when I saw that I still get a crystallarium, followed by the delight of completing a whole nother room. Boss repair incoming. I trotted off home. I wanted to get my crystallarium set up with a jade for staircases for future Skull Caverns trips. I then farmed some coal in the mines for Clint and gathered some gold ore for upgrades, leaving the place when Clint would be at the saloon so he could inspect the coal. He can't have any of it, nor my ores. Some of mine went into 6 more kegs tonight, and despite having forgotten to record day 77, past me left a note I say I just mined for copper. Oh, no I didn't. It was iron and gold, so you really didn't miss much. On day 78, I worked through my wheat farming and beer making duties before cutting down some long grass in a previously unused section of the farm. I guess Robin's presence here means that I must have asked for something to be built yesterday. We'll find out what it was when it's done. I'd prefer if the animals could spend their time in one of these fenced areas, so I cleared one of them out so I can move the building later. It was this day that I realised I've had my steel tools for a while now, and I've not checked out the blocked off parts in my other farm cave. It's called the Hot Spring Cave for a reason. I now have my very own natural spa to recover some energy from all those trees I just chopped. Nothing can beat this, even if it smells a little funny in here. I was searching through the town trash on day 79 when I used my menu to check the bulletin board request to see that Demetrius needed some green algae. How convenient, Gus just threw one of those away. I also needed a new special order for the week, and I wasn't feeling the albacore fishing, so I'll help Robin with her hardwood project. I headed up to Demetrius's kitchen to hand over the algae and got a prize ticket in return. I'm not sure handing out explosives as a prize is a smart idea, but I'll sure take them. What kind of a mare do we have here? Back on the farm, I tracked down some of those large logs towards Robin's project, and gathered some more stumps from the secret woods too, and by the time I was ready for bed, I could get the next batch of beer in. I mostly won't be mentioning this, it's an almost daily thing, especially whilst I still have the week, just know it's happening. On day 80, I gave Pam one of the beers I saved on a day she just felt like sleeping. That's just as well, I just added a bus without Pam mod. The bus has been repaired for several days now, and I haven't been forgetting to go. When she's married, her schedule already has her working at the bus stop less often, but I also seem to have a bug where she'd often get frozen somewhere in the bus stop path, so she never actually makes it to work. Who needs Pam to drive the bus when everything about the bus already looks like Pam? I was in the desert to pick up all the forage, and traded for some desert totems, triple shot espressos, and spicy eels. I also had my fishing rod with me so I could reel in 3 sandfish. The reason I needed 3 of them is because the sandfishing bundle needs all 3! I'd call it greedy, but I got 3 more desert totems as a reward, so it felt like a fair enough trade. But with that, the fish tank bundles are now all complete. As a progress checkup, I now need some raisins, an apple, and some cheese for the pantry. I had a cactus fruit for the play with paint bundle, and someone's definitely been playing with paint for this reward. Anyway, for the rest of the crafts room, this hungry Junimo will accept a bunch of foods I need to obtain, and the last bundle I forgot to show off is just waiting for some winter forage, a few days away. I dropped by Marnie's for her first working day of the week to get a new barn resident. Yeah, the building was a barn. Of course it's getting a cow. I'm gonna call it Pam. Some parts of my brain are still cursed, I guess, though this one seemed to have some wider consequences because we can get some actual farmable barn pans. I got 2 of them. I chopped the secret wood stump whilst I was out this way, then dropped off 80 hardwood I already had to Robin's, so the quest will mark itself complete once I finish chopping the rest. That way, I avoid failing it if I forget to hand it in until after the door locks on Sunday or something. From there, I walked back into town in the rain to bring George a birthday gift, and came home to check on all the barn pans, and set up a chest in there with some hay because I don't have a silo yet. Farming all that week definitely had its perks. On day 81, I brought Sandy a sweet pea to begin building her friendship on my trip to the desert to bring my prismatic shard to the pillars and get me a galaxy sword. Digging up a palm fossil there was a nice bonus. Good cue to pick up some museum pieces at home ready for donation, but before doing that, I popped to the mines to smelt some more copper for the silo I want to ask Robin to build. On my way over there, I found Willie inspecting the space where the big glittering boulder used to be. Apparently, its destruction means we can now find ores in the water, and Willie had a spare pan for me, so I can get some too. I got Robin started on my silo, which fit perfectly next to the abandoned greenhouse. That'll be ready just in time for winter. Then coming home to put away the forage I picked up through the day, I noticed I still had those artifacts in my backpack. I better go drop those off. I didn't remember to check the rewards. My remembering space for this evening was reserved for gathering hardwood from the secret woods. On day 82, my crop field was full of wheat and pumpkins. What a wonderful start to the day. Well, it was, until I chopped down this tree to find the ominous sight of these barn Pams enjoying the fresh autumnal air. Inside the barn, they left me some beers. Yes, that's what they produce in here. I'm not sure I want to ask Marnie what sort of operation she's running over there. I got out of the farm for the next stump chopping and hit the hardwood target to complete this week's special order. That's an extra $2 in my pocket, though I'd rather have just excluded this hat from the price ticket machine. I mined for copper despite the bad luck for the rest of the day. Some bad luck day, I got a replacement ancient seed. The last of the pumpkins were ready on day 83. I hadn't bothered saving the sprinkler spots for the end of this season this time because I'm probably going to rearrange them all. I did do one thing for winter prep today though. I bought a heater for the barn and a milk pail for the single cow. I had more mining to do for gold and iron to keep me busy till the Spirit Eve festival, but I wanted to leave with enough time to access the back room in the Adventurers Guild and read the copy of the Mapping Cave Systems book waiting for me. I don't plan to die, but you never know what'll happen. I was excited about tonight's festivities. The town was decorated with some spooky theming, but I wasn't scared. Nothing was spookier than our cursed half year. The chill in the air Lewis mentioned? That's me. I'm chill. I bought the rarecrow and the jack-o'-lantern recipe, then took a pleasant stroll through the maze to beat everyone to the golden pumpkin prize at the end. See? I love this holiday. On day 84, I added 11 more kegs to the keg room and took my scythe to most of the long grass around the farm to fill the silo. I took the bus out to the desert to trade for staircases and bombs for whenever I'm ready to do my first Skull Caverns run on this farm, then visited Morrow a little later on to bring her a super cucumber for her project. She paid me 750 gold for it, then I just about caught Robin as she finished work so I can move my barn to its permanent spot in the dedicated animal pen. For this final evening before the cold of winter sets in, I did a lap around Cinderset Forest to scoop up any remaining fall forage before it goes away for the year, and almost went to bed without picking this last fairy rose. Poor thing, I'll keep it aside for a future gift. On day 85, I closed the barn door to keep that draft out and found the cow had now grown so I could get my first bottle of milk. This one's not going to be shipped. I need to turn my first couple into cheese for the community centre. A startled shadow person at the bus stop led me over to a random bush in town and handed me a magnifying glass to find secret notes. Then I can't believe it's taken me to the 1st of winter, but at long last, I bought the 10 grand backpack upgrade. That curse really did a number on my brain. It was also about time I bought an iridium rod. I completely skipped the fiberglass one this time, and using all the deluxe bait I've been saving up, I fished the whole afternoon at the pier just for fun. Nah, just kidding. The curse didn't wreck my brain that much. Well, maybe it hurt my reaction times a little. I had the biome balance special order to complete this week, and to keep myself focused, I avoided frequently checking my journal to see how many fish I had left to catch. This was a good opportunity to make myself work on my fishing level. There's level 7. I caught my 20th fish in the evening. That squid, I'll be saving for Squidfest, and the prize ticket got me a fish smoker. Brilliantly on theme for the quest. On day 86, I picked up all of my sprinklers and rearranged them. I won't be getting loads of iridium ones for a while, though I'll be happy if I can cover this field in quality ones this season. My second portion of cheese was ready by then, so I brought it to the community centre with an apple for the teacher's bundle. One of the cheeses completed the chili to farmer bundle, which rewarded me with an early heavy furnace. A holly from outside completed the field trip foraging bundle, which gave me a woodcutter's weekly. Then the last cheese was for the very hungry Junimo bundle, which just got me a puzzle table. We're gonna ignore that reward, because the craft room is now restored. I'll have access to the quarry soon, and the community can have access to this puzzle table here, because personally, I don't need it. I headed over to Pierre's next to get the dehydrator recipe I've been avoiding. I'm gonna need this to make raisins. I was hoping to see one in the prize ticket machine, which doesn't look like it's gonna be here anytime soon. I would still like to be collecting prize tickets over time, so I grabbed some gold ore from the mines for Clint to inspect. I had to go back to the mines briefly, having forgotten to pick up some fire quartz, and I needed to take out some lava crabs, because Demetrius really did have a prize ticket for me. I got some artifact tros for it, and honestly, it was a relief not seeing a dehydrator in the lineup still, having just spent the 10 grand on the recipe. I better just make one myself, or 4 apparently, and got some raisins and dried crystal fruits going. Those won't be ready till tomorrow, so I added some lighting to the sprinklers out here, and placed back down the basic sprinklers at the bottom end of the field. I might as well still use them for now. On day 87, I shipped the dried crystal fruits and one of the raisins for the shipping collection, along with the usual beer. I took a coconut out with me to give Linus for his birthday, then the other box of raisins were designated for the teacher's bundle, and its reward? A dehydrator? What kind of sick joke is this? I didn't have time to let the rage boil up inside me, because the Junimos made their appearance to refurbish the pantry and the kitchen. That's the last bundle in the building, so it was time to bid the little Junimos farewell. Thank goodness they weren't Pam cursed. I do wish I kept up chopping hardwood in the secret woods after Robin's project though. I'm gonna have my work cut out to be able to get the boat to Ginger Island fixed. Still no rest for me today. I had to handle a red slime bounty in the mines to get another few hundred gold from Lewis, and carried on working on the farm by getting my bee houses set back up whilst the bees are asleep, and I placed some more paths around the crop field. The Junimos repaired the greenhouse and evicted a raccoon overnight. Then, on day 88, I finally felt sufficiently physically and mentally prepared to unlock the Daughter Skull cabins for my first adventure here. I was in need of iridium for, well, various things, but right now, mainly the boat repair. I'll happily take any prizzies too though. My first treasure room wasn't till floor 59, and inside was a white turban, but the next one on floor 88 was hilarious. It just had some parsnip seeds inside, but it came up with the message we get on day 1 from Lewis. I don't know if this is a bug or intentional, but either way, I love it. That's enough of a loot spoiler for now. I'll let you know that on this first Skull Caverns dive on this farm, I passed out on floor 118 for the night and picked the blacksmith profession, having hit level 10 mining. And now, it's time for the farm's first loot review. You saw the parsnip seeds and the turban, but I also got a red slime egg which I'll probably just sell. I got over 200 iridium ore down there, I'm proud of that, and I can't believe I came home with 3 prismatic shards amongst all the ores and gems. The dino egg, I'll be saving till I can incubate it. That's an incredible first run. On my way to the secret woods, I checked the travelling cart and bought the lobster there. I often have trouble catching them, so now I need one less between Gus's quest and the cooking recipe than I could leave to clear out all the hardwood. As soon as I got into town, I found all the villagers celebrating in and around the fully fixed up community centre. I gladly received the Stardew Valley Hero Trophy. I managed something the town's own mayor couldn't. Then Morris showed his stupid face, wondering where his customers were. Not gonna lie, I hadn't stepped into Joja here really, so I kind of forgot he existed, and I don't feel bad about it in the slightest. He'll be even more forgettable in his new location in space. I displayed my shiny new trophy in my house and refilled my kegs before handing off my next batch of donations to the museum. My first iridium bars were ready by then, which would be more exciting if I didn't still have 55 hardwood to collect for the boat. That was my first job for day 90, and given how often I need to do this, I might skip telling you about it every single time. I was feeling some farm decorating today in the form of placing a load more paths, and once I had enough of that night, I brought a topaz to the dwarf from whom I bought the dwarfish safety manual. Less bomb damage will be handy now I'm occasionally visiting skull caverns. On day 91, I spent 25 grand on an auto grabber so I don't have to remember to milk the cow, and the Pams can store their beers in there. I brought Caroline one of my best summer spangles for her birthday, and continued today's spending spree at Robin's this time. I bought the big chest recipe, and asked her to build me a coop. The Pams don't want to live in there, but I'm gonna need other animals for perfection. I need friendships for perfection too, so I commenced an afternoon and evening of running around the whole town delivering gifts, including one extra one for Emily, the amethyst as a favour for Clint, which I didn't deny the credit for. On day 92, I smashed the ice fishing competition with my 6 big slimy fish, and took home some prizes. Lewis tried to make up their quality with some quantity and it did not work. Day 93 was mostly occupied by a gift spree, but I also set up my greenhouse with a few sprinklers to grow the 4 ancient seeds I've been saving. I don't want a mass crop for them, but I will still need some for the missing bundle. Then checking on the Pams and feeding them, I noticed that the beers weren't being left on the floor or the auto grabber. I do check this a couple of times in the coming days, but they never stored their beers in here, so I will be removing it soon because I think there's a bug. I crafted another 14 kegs on day 94. The keg room's now out of space, but I know Pam won't mind if they overflow into the main part of the house. I brought Sebastian a frozen tear for his birthday whilst disturbing him as minimally as possible, then visited Willie to take a look at this rotting wreck in his back room. He said that he'd have repaired it himself, but he didn't have the materials. Well, isn't this Willie's lucky day? I just so happened to be carrying all the materials the boat needs in the exact quantity required. What a coincidence. The boat will be repaired overnight. I topped up on farm wood following this morning's keg crafting. I think I was hoping to hit level 10 foraging that night too, but I ran out of energy before I could get there. My plan for day 95 was to hunt for the prismatic slime, but I was going to have to come up with more plans because I found and slayed it just after 10 AM and brought it over to the wizard around lunchtime. The prize ticket from that special order just got me a houseplant, then I caught the bookseller in town and picked up a copy of Way the Wind Part 1. With my now freed up afternoon, I went back to the mines for iron. On day 96, I woke up to a house full of beer. Judging by the rest of the contents of my backpack, I think I wanted to take the boat to Ginger Island for the first time, except when I got to the beach, I was reminded that today is the first of Squidfest. I stored all my island supplies in my crabbing chest, and sprinted home to craft a bait maker to process my first squid. I brought it with me to the pier for the squid fishing, and caught the 8 that I needed for the iridium target in just a few hours. I claimed all my prizes, planning to leave them all in the beach chest for now, except the Art of Crabbing book, which I flicked through immediately. I'm glad I left my island supplies down here. I still have the whole afternoon free for island exploration. I collected my first walnuts and tent kits in the jungle, and fed one of my walnuts to this parrot in the treehouse. The kid up there was too shy to approach, so I got out of his safe space for now, and raced around the north of the island grabbing as many walnuts as I could. I got the west turtle out of the way that evening, cleared some space to plant some seeds, and chopped all the stumps and logs for hardwood so I could get to level 10 foraging. Noticing the hour, I thought I should probably grab the walnuts from this region. I didn't quite get enough to restore the farmhouse, so I crawled into a tent for a kip, and picked lumberjack for my level 10 foraging profession. On day 97, I realised I'd not collected the money reward for the prismatic jelly, and before I could go on with any further walnut hunting, I took the boat back to Pelican Town beach for day 2 of Squidfest. I brought Willie one of yesterday's squid for his request. I think he's using it to cheat at Squidfest, but I could catch my next 11 squid legitimately by midday. I collected my rewards, and instead of going back to Ginger Island, I brought home all the fish and prizes, sold off my last batch of beer now that I've run out of wheat, then raced over to Robin's shortly before she closed to ask for a coop upgrade. The beer, pickles, fish, and treasure made me 22 grand that night. Then on day 98, I brought Harvey a couple of birthday beverages, a coffee and a Stardew tea to max out the friendship. I was ready to escape the wintry weather and head back to Ginger Island today. The Mossel Rocks got me enough walnuts to restore the farmhouse, but rather than go my usual route, I opted to fix the dig site bridge instead this time and used a bomb to free Professor Snail. Once I gathered the easy walnuts from this area, I cleared out all the rocks, weeds, and trees. That gave me an easier time fishing and panning in this river. I was happy to be catching more walnuts, but I was really after the fossil pieces here. I did fish up the fossilized spine, which I donated with the legs and the snake head, and I did try to do the island survey, but I guessed wrong. This always happens. I'll try to pan up the fossilized tail another day. For tonight, I wanted to give the singing stone puzzle a go. It took me a few attempts, but I was pleased to win my walnuts before midnight hit, and with those, I could repair the farmhouse and get some sleep over there. On day 99, I headed back to the farm to incubate a dino egg in my newly upgraded coop. I brought the dwarf a gift whilst I was in the mines to get some more copper smelted, then I brought some gold bars from home to Clint to upgrade my pickaxe. Of course, that means my trip to the desert wasn't for skull cabins. I mean, it was a bit late to be starting that anyway, but I just wanted some more desert forage and some starfruit seeds from Sandy. One of the cactus fruits was for Haley's request. Earned myself a prize ticket on my way to the first night market day. I got the mermaid show out of the way first so I could pocket a pearl, then grabbed my free cup of coffee before deciding it was too late to go on the submarine for the fishing, so we retreated to my greenhouse to plant all the starfruit. On day 100, I soaked myself in Monster Musk to handle Gunther's special order for 100 bone frags. I was very much regretting having cleared out the dig site. That would have made this go a lot faster, because it took me till 8:30 PM to gather all of them. I didn't even bother with a night market tonight. On day 101, I brought the wizard 2 void essences, one for his mail request and the other for his birthday. I still got shooed out of his home. I took myself into town to claim the prize ticket from Haley a couple of days ago and got a Woodcutter's Weekly book. I'm glad I checked my levels before I read it. I'm already maxed in foraging, so I'll save it until I can earn mastery XP. All of that made for perfect timing. Clint just opened his door so I could rescue my pickaxe from him, then I came back to the farm to add some more paths, as well as a few more basic sprinklers to fill out the bottom of the crop field. I unfortunately had to visit Clint again later on to bring him an iron bar. Between that and the donation of the bone frags to Gunther, that kept me busy until I could board the submarine at the night market. It's the last day it's here for the year, so I was really crossing my fingers that I could catch all of its exclusive fish in this single night. I'm usually most worried about the blobfish, but that one showed up first, and I was thrilled to get some help from a bubble spot, but it just kept throwing seaweed at me, and another blobfish, and a super cucumber. Okay, maybe this isn't so bad. It did also give me the spookfish, and I was relieved to see the midnight squid on my line not long after. I wanted to stay and catch more fish to put in the smoker, but I kept just catching seaweed again. I think the submarine ran out of fish. On day 102, I got a prismatic shard from a mystic stone on my very own farm quarry. I wanted a last little dose of mining before I handed my pickaxe back to Clint for its iridium upgrade. I took today to work on some farm prep for the new year. This meant planting some fiber seeds to hold the sprinkler spots so I don't have to till and water them at the start of spring. I didn't have enough seeds for all of them, but some are better than none. Then I added some more cobblestone and stepping stone paths in the area between the farm bridge and the bus stop. On day 103, I waited outside Clint's with a bunch of stuff to smash open. I know he goes out on Fridays, but I thought I'd have a couple of seconds to make use of his services just after he opened. Sadly, he leaves the building just before 9. Useless guy. My pickaxe wouldn't have been finished today anyway, but I still hung out in the mines to slay enough dust sprites to complete the Monster Slayer goal. I wanted that burglar ring. Just the burglar ring. I do want to replace my glowstone ring with an iridium band, and for that, I needed to get my hands on some more solar essence. Though I wasn't expecting to come home with another prismatic shard from a void spirit. I kind of forgot to bring home my extra solar essence from the mines, but it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because I still hadn't reached level 9 combat to unlock its crafting recipe. On day 104, I could collect my iridium pickaxe from Clint, but I didn't bring back my mystery boxes for opening, because this day was dedicated to gift deliveries all around town. Getting a star drop tea from my special order prize ticket will help with these friendships. Perfect timing, really. I gave it to Evelyn as part of her birthday gift. I carried on my gift giving, picking up any forage I passed, and when I got to the railroad area, I found the wizard waiting outside a blocked cave. I really should know better than to get involved in whatever he's up to, but I Uno reversed him and shooed him away this time. I already know he wants me to open the cave, can't do anything for himself. For right now though, I got places to be, people to see, friendship points to score. On day 105 I checked on my island farm, clearing out the weeds so they don't overtake my few little crops. I had a few more fossils for Professor Snail's collection, with a frog earning me a walnut, and I gave the island survey another go before I left. I got it right this time, so that's 2 more walnuts for me. I carried on north for my first volcano run. There should be plenty of golden walnuts to be found in here, and to check off another bit of perfection prep, I bought both the recipes from the dwarf on the 5th floor. I wasn't too impressed to find just a protection ring with the golden walnut on my first volcano treasure chest. The pineapple seeds in the next one weren't much better, and neither was the phoenix ring from floor 9's chest. That was all okay though, because I knew there'd be another prizzy waiting for me right at the top by the forge. My joy vanished when I saw I just got the bug killer enchantment though. I was really hoping for Crusader to make killing mummies easier. I slept on the farm that night so I could bring all my volcano loot home. Then on day 106, I got the boat straight back for a very brief visit to clear even more weeds. They tend to spawn on a Monday, and it's a good thing I came. Look how close that was to my crops. I then headed back to the home farm for the rest of the day. I had to fish up 10 perch for an overpopulation problem, and I definitely could have sped this process up with perch bait, but I really need to work on my fishing level, lagging a fair bit behind the rest. I caught my 10th perch after dark, but pushed on with a few more fish that night until my energy ran out just for the XP. On day 107, I got some more sprinklers spring ready using some sacrifice winter forage seeds to pass some time before Leah unlocked her door so I could bring her a birthday gift. I didn't want to have to go out and buy a gift, so the lucky girl gets one of my pearls. I got round to bringing all my Smashables back to Clint, mostly mystery boxes for materials and seeds and stuff, but there were a handful of museum donations in there. I unlocked new rewards with this lot, but they're not really useful, so I just left them there. The 10 hardwood I got from one of the mystery boxes went to Robin for her other project. Then, in saying hi to Caroline, I remembered I have access to a tea room, and being the last week of the year, I had tea leaves to steal. Before crawling into bed that night, I wanted to bring the dwarf another gift. I was just going to leave another bone sword in this chest here, but I stopped procrastinating and cleared out the extras to sell to the Adventurers Guild for extra cash. That made it kind of annoying getting home and seeing I forgot to bring the 2 volcano rings with me, and to add to my annoyance, this is the day I found out I didn't have the recipe for the iridium band I was desperate to craft. Leah showed up offensively early to bring me this weird gift on day 108. She called this mangled piece of wood how I feel about Emma. I don't really know what that tells me, but I know how I feel about this gift. I left it in the dark and damp hot spring cave. My price ticket for the whole day of perch fishing just got me a cow sticker. That'll just live in a chest on the island to be forgotten. I had a frog to show my melons to in exchange for his nuts. Wait. Moving on, I bribed the island's pirates into restoring the resort, and ran off home real quick to pick up a variety of gems, as well as to craft some flute blocks. I also needed to bring over some wheat seeds for the creepy frog's next quest, then took advantage of the rainy weather to track down the day's gem bird. This gave me an easier time forcing my way through the rest of the puzzle, instead of waiting for more rain and more birds to tell me the answer. And for our other rainy day island activity, I brought those flute blocks to the newly opened southeast beach to perform the mermaid her own song. I could then grab the easy to reach walnuts from this area, but I'll have to come back another day to hang with the pirates. They won't visit in this weather. Day 109 was Winter Star Day. Shame my wife isn't in a festive mood. She's still holding a grudge against me for her own subpar performance at the ice fishing competition. I got myself through the pleasantries with everyone else, then handed my secret friend Jodie a gift, a diamond which she loved. Jazz was my gift giver this year. Inside the box was a rainbow shell. I thought it was really sweet. Not literally. Please don't eat them. On day 110, I waited outside Clint's to surprise him with a birthday gift. It was more of a gift for me, really. I maxed out his friendship, so I don't have to speak to him anymore, other than for business reasons. I fished the whole day away to grind out fishing XP, refusing to leave the pier until I reached level 9, and then the following day, I had to meet another of Hayley's demands, this time for a sea cucumber, when I found her struggling to open the pickle jar. Given that I had the strength to marry Pam, I had more than enough strength to open this jar. Then I could hand over that sea cucumber and be on my way. I had a stinky day planned in the mines, working on Monster Slayer goals and my combat level. Once I reached my target level 9, I made my exit and brought Gus an albacore at the saloon for his fish stew, and since today is the last for the gift week, I bought Shane a pizza and presented Willie with one of the gold bars I just smelted. On day 112, I added 6 more bee houses to the farm so I can make more mead next year, and pretty much squeeze them in wherever they could fit. The farm is about to explode with life again, so I chopped down the trees I don't need to reduce the overgrowth, then added some new friends to the coop. Chick Pam the white chicken, Feather Pam the brown chicken, ignore the spelling, it wouldn't fit, and Quam the duck. Think that's enough Pam-themed animals? No, I need another barn Pam. The newest Pam of the year. New Pam. How many times can I say Pam today? Let's make that the last. For this final day of the year, I mainly ran around town with gifts again, and whilst I was in the desert to bring one to Sandy, I made sure to top up on staircases from the trader. I got through as many gifts as I possibly could, and when I made it back home, I prepped a couple more sprinklers for the new season, and crawled into bed without even saying goodnight to my spouse. My goodness, what a weird year this has been. I wasn't expecting that in ditching the old dull corporate life for greener pastures, that I would have been subjected to all the absurdities we've experienced since our arrival. Thanks to that washed up wizard, I'm now stuck with Pam as a wife, unless I want to be extra cursed again. You know, I blame Lewis for letting the wizard stay here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything about the wizard, but I hope you're ready for next year, because I'm running for mayor. Remember to like the video if you enjoyed the antics today, and subscribe to hopefully see me ruling Pelican Town soon. Thank you so much to my channel members, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!